Tom stood alone in the center of his new living room, holding his phone and listening to the quiet that wrapped around the oceanfront villa like a heavy blanket. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us where you're watching from. The silence felt strange, almost too perfect, with no traffic sounds or neighbors close enough to hear. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the Pacific Ocean moved like a living painting framed in glass worth more than most people's cars. 40 years, he whispered to himself, staring at the curved staircase and polished floors. 40 years of work bought this place. He opened his social media page where he had posted the photos 10 minutes earlier, knowing his daughter Lily would see them even if she never called. He set the phone down and walked to a stack of boxes labeled in neat handwriting from the moving company. One box read Office Awards, and Tom carried it to the built-in shelves near the fireplace. Inside were his old plaques, design awards, excellence certificates, and recognition from architectural groups that once praised his talent. He unwrapped each piece carefully, placing them on the shelves in perfect order. "Order calms me," he murmured, his voice echoing in the empty room. Outside, a jogger appeared like a tiny figure moving along the beach, reminding Tom how alone this new beginning truly felt. He opened another box filled with framed photographs. Most showed buildings he designed, but at the bottom, wrapped in bubble wrap, was one picture he didn't want to look at. It was Thanksgiving 2016, his late wife Anna smiling with her arm around Lily, who looked softer, happier back then. Her husband Mark stood beside them, already uncomfortable, just as he had always been. "Last Thanksgiving with Anna," Tom whispered, placing the picture face down on the mantel. The calls from Lily had slowed after that year, then stopped entirely, leaving him with holidays spent waiting for a message that never came. Thanksgiving morning arrived gray and cold, but Tom cooked anyway, preparing a small dinner meant for one. He sat at his large dining table, one place set, 10 chairs empty. He didn't pretend anyone was coming. When he finished eating, he walked down to the beach, picked up a smooth black stone, and threw it far into the surf. "The man who waited for his daughter," he said softly, "died right here." That evening, he spread financial papers across his desk, portfolios, bank statements, and the old check he once wrote to help Lily buy her home, a gift she barely thanked him for. For days after Thanksgiving, Tom was sorting those same documents when tires crunched on the gravel driveway outside. He froze. He wasn't expecting anyone. The doorbell rang sharply, 3 loud chimes that felt more like commands than a normal greeting. When he opened the door, Lily stood there wearing an expression of forced concern, her husband Mark beside her in expensive weekend clothes. Behind them was a man in a gray suit holding a briefcase. "Dad," Lily said, stepping inside without waiting, "we need to talk about your estate planning. At your age, these things can't wait." Tom stayed at the door, watching them invade his home like they owned it. Lily walked straight into the living room, her eyes sweeping over the villa as if she were assessing a property she planned to inherit. "This place is too much for someone your age," she said, pretending to sound worried but failing. Mark ran his hand along the marble console table, nodding to himself like an appraiser. "Nice," he muttered, "must have cost a fortune." Tom folded his arms, staying near the door, deliberately refusing to welcome them further. The man in the suit stepped inside last. "I'm Robert," he said. "Your daughter asked me to review some financial matters." Tom shook his hand briefly, already sensing trouble. Robert opened his briefcase and placed several folders on the dining table with rehearsed confidence. "We're here to discuss power of attorney, health directives, and estate distribution," he began. Tom didn't sit. Instead, he asked quietly, "Lily, why didn't you invite me for Thanksgiving for 6 straight years?" The question hit her like a slap. She looked away, annoyed instead of guilty. "Dad, don't be dramatic," she replied. "We're busy, the kids have activities, life happens. This isn't about holidays. This is about protecting your legacy." Tom stared at her, wondering how she could say that with a straight face. Mark wandered into the kitchen like he owned the place, opening cabinets and commenting loudly on the expensive appliances. "German made. Nice upgrade from your old house," he said. Tom kept watching them, his expression unreadable. "You said wrong people might take advantage of me," Tom said to Mark. "Who exactly were you thinking of?" Mark smirked. "It's just a phrase, relax." Lily tapped the documents impatiently. "Can we please stay focused? Robert, show him the forms he needs to sign." "Dad, this is for your own safety." Tom didn't move. His silence made Lily shift uncomfortably. Before Robert could speak again, a soft voice called from the hallway, "Tom? Who's at the door?" All three visitors turned sharply. Emma stepped into view wearing jeans and a warm sweater, her reading glasses pushed into her hair. She held a mug of coffee, pausing when she noticed the strangers crowding the living room. "Oh," she said politely, "I didn't know you had company. Should I make more coffee?" Lily stood slowly, her eyes narrowing as she looked at Emma. "Who is this?" she demanded, her voice tight. Emma walked calmly to Tom's side, slipping her hand into his in a way that showed deep familiarity. Tom met Lily's stare without flinching. "Lily," he said evenly, "this is Emma. My wife." The room froze. Emma gave a polite nod. "We were married 3 months ago." Lily's face went pale, then red with shock. Mark stopped moving entirely, and even Robert lowered his briefcase as if it suddenly weighed too much. "You got married?" Lily whispered. "Without telling me?" Tom kept his voice calm. "You stopped calling 6 years ago. You never asked how I was living, and you only came today to discuss my will." Emma squeezed his hand gently. "We prefer a quiet home," she said. "Unexpected visits aren't ideal." Lily's shock hardened into anger as she pointed at Emma. "So this is why you don't need guidance anymore? Because some stranger whispered sweet things into your ear?" Emma smiled politely, unfazed. "I'm not a stranger, Lily. Your father and I have known each other for 2 years." Lily turned sharply toward Tom. "You married her without telling me. What kind of father hides something like that?" Tom's voice stayed steady. "The kind of father whose daughter forgot he existed for 6 Thanksgiving dinners." The words hit Lily like a cold wave, leaving her speechless. Robert cleared his throat, trying to regain control. "Mr. Boyd, perhaps we should return to the documents." "We were discussing power of attorney," Emma gently interrupted. "That won't be necessary. Tom and I have already arranged our financial affairs." Lily snapped her head toward her father. "You did what?" Tom nodded. "Everything is organized. I don't need you managing my money." Mark stepped closer, irritation slipping through his polished tone. "Tom, don't make this difficult. You're 67. Mistakes happen at your age. We're trying to help." Tom gave a short, humorless laugh. "Help? Or control?" Emma placed her coffee mug on the console table and folded her arms. "Let me make something clear," she said softly. "I'm not here for Tom's money. I have my own career and my own savings." Lily glared at her. "Then why marry him so fast?" Emma answered calmly, "Because we cared for each other. Something that grows naturally doesn't need your approval." Robert began packing his folders, sensing the conversation was slipping away from his control. "Perhaps we should reschedule," he muttered. But Lily wasn't ready to leave empty-handed. "No," she said sharply. "This conversation isn't over." Tom stepped forward, his expression firm. "Actually, Lily, it is." He opened the front door, letting a cold breeze sweep into the villa. Mark looked uncertain, glancing between Lily and the exit. "Let's go," he whispered to her. Lily hesitated, fury tightening her face. "Dad, you are being manipulated. And when things fall apart, don't call me." Tom met her gaze without blinking. "You haven't answered my calls in 6 years." For the first time, Lily had no comeback. She stormed out, Mark following behind her. Robert left last, avoiding eye contact. When the door closed, Tom exhaled slowly, leaning against it. Emma stepped closer, touching his arm gently. "You handled that well," she said. Tom shook his head. "I didn't expect them to react like that." Emma nodded. "Desperation makes people bold. Something is wrong in their life, Tom. People don't bring lawyers unless they're already in trouble." Tom looked toward the ocean through the window. "Then I need to find out what kind of trouble." Emma gave a thoughtful look. "Whatever it is, it won't stay hidden forever." Over the next week, Tom returned to his usual routines, organizing his office, reviewing old projects, and enjoying quiet mornings with Emma. But the visit from Lily lingered in his mind like a shadow. Emma noticed. One evening, she asked, "Still thinking about them?" Tom nodded. They came here with papers ready to sign. That wasn't concern, that was strategy. Emma considered this. Then maybe we need information before they try something again. Tom tilted his head. Information. Emma nodded again. Yes. People leave public footprints. We just have to look. Tom contacted his longtime friend David, a financial consultant known for being discreet. I'm not asking for anything illegal, Tom said over the phone. Just check public records for Lily and Mark. Mortgages, liens, business filings. Anything already available to the public. David agreed without hesitation. I'll bring you what I find. When Tom ended the call, Emma squeezed his hand. Whatever comes, we deal with it together. Tom smiled softly. I know. That's what makes this different. But a knot in his stomach hinted that the truth ahead wouldn't be pleasant. 3 days later, David arrived at the villa carrying a thin folder. Tom invited him in, and they sat at the dining table. Emma poured coffee and joined them. David opened the folder slowly, his expression serious. I found something, he said. Actually, several things. Tom braced himself. David continued, they refinanced their house last year. Big loan. Their mortgage payments doubled. Emma exchanged a glance with Tom. Anything else? David nodded grimly. Yes. Mark's business has multiple complaints filed with the state. Financial misconduct, risky investments, unhappy clients. Tom felt a tightening in his chest. So they're drowning financially, he whispered. David nodded. It looks that way. And when people are drowning, they reach for any rope they can find, even if it's yours. Emma leaned forward. Is there more? David hesitated. One last thing. They're months behind on their mortgage. If things continue like this, they could lose the house. Tom absorbed the news slowly, the weight settling on his shoulders. It wasn't just greed, it was desperation. And desperation made people dangerous. After David left, Tom stood at the terrace, staring at the restless Pacific. Emma joined him and slipped her hand into his. You need to decide how far you want to go, she said gently. Tom nodded. I won't let them use me. But I also won't strike blindly. Emma rested her head on his shoulder. Then choose a path that gives you peace, not regret. Tom exhaled deeply. I will. Whatever happens next. I want it to end on my terms. The ocean moved endlessly before them, steady and patient, as if waiting for Tom's next decision. The following week, Tom received an unexpected message from Lily. Dad, can we talk? It's important. Tom read it twice before setting the phone down. She knows something is coming, he murmured. Emma looked over from the kitchen. Trouble doesn't knock twice, Tom. If she's reaching out, she's desperate. Tom considered replying, but he felt no rush. 6 years without a single holiday invitation had taught him patience. Instead, he walked outside to the terrace, letting the cold ocean breeze clear his thoughts. 2 days later, Lily appeared at the villa without warning. She stood stiffly at the doorway, trying to smile. Dad, can we talk? Tom stepped aside but didn't offer a hug. Lily walked in slowly, glancing around as though the house belonged to her future plans. Emma remained seated at the dining table, calm but watchful. Lily cleared her throat. I shouldn't have brought a lawyer last time. That was Mark's idea. Tom lifted an eyebrow. Was it? She looked down. Okay, partly mine. But things are difficult right now. Tom didn't soften. What kind of difficult? Lily's eyes darted between him and Emma. I know you've heard things, she said, voice shaking. But it's not as bad as it looks. Emma leaned forward gently. Public records don't lie, Lily. Lily flinched at Emma's tone. Please don't talk like you know me. Tom crossed his arms. Then tell us the truth yourself. Lily swallowed hard. Mark's business took a hit. Some clients got angry. And the house, well, we fell behind on payments. But we can fix it. We just need time. Tom remained steady. Time won't fix the decisions that brought you here. Lily's eyes filled with frustration. Dad, you don't understand. Mark and I tried. But life gets complicated. Emma spoke softly. Life gets complicated for everyone, Lily. But people still choose their actions. Lily looked away, embarrassed and cornered. We came here to ask for help, she said finally. Tom stared at her, remembering 6 years of silence. Help, he repeated quietly. Or rescue. Lily didn't answer, which was already an answer. Tom walked toward the window, watching the waves crash steadily against the shore. Lily, you didn't visit for years. You didn't call. You only came when you thought I was alone and vulnerable. Lily's voice trembled. That's not fair. Tom turned to her. Fair is calling your father on Thanksgiving. Fair is showing up when I buried your mother. Fair is not disappearing until you need money. Lily covered her face with her hands. I made mistakes, she whispered. Emma stood quietly, giving father and daughter space but not intervening. Tom sighed, the weight of the years pressing on him. You didn't come here to apologize, Lily. You came here to save your house. Lily looked up, tears in her eyes. Yes, she said honestly. We're going to lose everything, Dad. Please, help us. Tom studied her, searching for sincerity. If I help you, he said slowly, what changes? Lily blinked. Changes. Tom nodded. Will I see you? Will you remember holidays? Birthdays? Or will this be another transaction? The question struck her harder than any anger could. Lily stood frozen, unable to answer. Tom felt the truth settle inside him like a stone. She didn't want him, only what he could give. Emma stepped beside Tom and touched his arm gently. You don't have to decide today, she said softly. Lily exhaled shakily. Please, Dad. I'm begging you. Tom closed his eyes briefly, hearing the silent years between them. When he opened them, his voice was calm. I'll think about it, Lily. But I won't rush. Lily nodded, defeated. Thank you, she whispered, though gratitude didn't reach her eyes. After Lily left, Tom remained silent for a long moment. Emma finally asked, What are you thinking? Tom shook his head. That she still didn't ask how I'm doing. Not once. Emma nodded. Her request wasn't about you. It was about survival. Tom sat at the dining table, hands clasped. I spent years hoping she'd change. But today showed me she hasn't. Emma spoke gently. Then choose a path that protects your peace, not her comfort. Tom breathed deeply. Maybe protecting myself is the only way forward now. The next morning, Tom received a message from David. Call me. Something new came up. Tom dialed immediately. David's voice was heavy. Tom, their house is already in pre-foreclosure. If they don't catch up in 60 days, the bank will take it. Tom closed his eyes. So it's worse than they admitted. David continued, they also opened a new line of credit 2 months ago. 5 figures. Probably trying to stay afloat. Emma joined Tom at the table, listening quietly. Desperation, she murmured, always makes people reckless. Tom hung up the phone and sat back, feeling a strange calm settling over him. Emma, he said slowly, they're sinking fast. Emma nodded. And they want you to be the lifeboat. Tom looked toward the ocean again, steady, relentless, honest. I won't drown with them, he said firmly. Emma touched his shoulder. Then decide what ending gives you the most peace. Not revenge, closure. Tom nodded slowly. Closure, he repeated. Then that's what I'll build toward. Outside, the waves continued their endless rhythm, as if urging him forward. Tom spent the next 3 days in quiet reflection, watching the ocean from his terrace while reviewing documents David had left behind. Emma noticed the change in his expression, no longer hurt, no longer conflicted, but steady and resolved. One evening, she asked, Have you made your decision? Tom nodded slowly. Yes. I'm going to help, but not in the way they expect. Emma gave a soft smile. A decision made in peace always lasts longer than one made in anger. Tom looked back at the waves. I just want an ending that doesn't leave me bitter. That Friday, Tom called Lily and asked her to meet him at a quiet cafe overlooking the marina. She arrived wearing stress on her face like a shadow she couldn't remove. Dad, she said breathlessly, Thank you for seeing me. Tom gestured to the chair across from him. Sit, Lily. We need to talk calmly. She sat, gripping her hands together. Did you think about my request? Tom nodded. I did. And I want you to listen without interrupting. Lily swallowed hard, bracing for an answer she already feared. Lily, Tom began gently, I spent years hoping you'd make room for me in your life. But you didn't. And today, you're not here because you miss me. You're here because you're afraid. Lily's eyes filled with tears instantly. Dad, please, Tom raised a hand. I'm not judging you. I'm telling the truth. He leaned forward. I'm willing to help you, but I won't rescue the choices that brought you here. Lily looked confused. I don't understand. Tom sighed softly. I'm not giving you money. But I'm not abandoning you either. Lily's shoulders slumped. Then what are you offering? Tom answered clearly. I will help you restructure your finances with a professional. I'll connect you with advisors who can guide you. But I will not fund your debts or pay for your house. Lily stared at him in disbelief. Dad, without money, we will lose everything. Tom nodded calmly. Sometimes losing something opens a door you wouldn't have looked for otherwise. She whispered, so you're letting us fall? Tom replied softly, I'm letting you stand on your own. Lily covered her face, tears slipping through her fingers. I don't know how to fix this, Dad. Tom's voice softened. Then start small. Ask for real help from real professionals, not just from people who love you. Emma had taught him this phrase, and it felt right. Lily looked up, defeated but listening. So this is it. Tom shook his head gently. No. This is the beginning. If you want a better life, build it with honesty, not shortcuts. Lily nodded slowly, understanding the difference even through her tears. The cafe grew quieter as the sun lowered behind the marina. Lily finally whispered, I'm sorry, Dad. For everything. For the years I didn't call, for forgetting what you needed. Tom exhaled softly. Thank you for saying that. Lily wiped her eyes. I don't expect you to forgive everything at once. Tom smiled gently. Forgiveness grows like plants. Slowly, but it grows. Lily looked down. Will you at least be in my life if I try to do better? Tom nodded. I never walked away, Lily. I just stopped chasing. They left the cafe together, walking along the quiet pier. The air smelled of salt and distant boat engines. Lily paused beside her car. Dad, can I call you? Not for money. Just to talk. Tom nodded. I would like that. She gave a small, fragile smile. Okay. I'll try to be better. Tom responded gently, trying is enough for now. They parted with no dramatic promises, no sudden miracles, only the beginning of a repaired line that had been broken for too long. Later that evening, Tom returned home where Emma waited on the terrace with 2 cups of tea. How did it go? She asked. Tom sat beside her, letting the warm mug ease his hands. Better than I expected, he said. Worse than I wanted. Emma nodded knowingly. That's usually how healing works. Tom gazed at the horizon, the last light fading into the waves. I didn't fix her problems, he said. But maybe I helped her start fixing herself. Emma leaned her head on his shoulder. Then you did enough. As the night deepened, Tom reflected on everything, the loneliness, the shock, the anger, the truth he finally accepted. He didn't need Lily's approval anymore. He didn't need her attention or gratitude. He only needed peace. Emma squeezed his hand gently. You chose grace, Tom, she whispered. Not revenge. Tom nodded, feeling something inside him loosen after years of waiting. She's not a villain, he murmured. She's just lost. And maybe now she sees the path home. Emma smiled softly. And you didn't close the door. The next morning, Tom stood on the terrace watching the Pacific move in calm, steady waves. For the first time in years, he felt light, clear, settled, whole. His relationship with Lily wasn't repaired, but it wasn't broken beyond hope either. It was simply unfinished, like a blueprint with room to grow. Emma joined him, resting a hand on his back. A fresh beginning, she said. Tom nodded. For both of us, And maybe someday for Lily too. The ocean continued its endless rhythm below them, whispering a quiet truth. Peace doesn't come from what others give you, it comes from what you finally choose to let go.